A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. The two disciples recounted what had taken place on the way, and how Jesus was made known to them in the breaking of bread. While they were still speaking about this, he stood in their midst and said to them, "Peace be with you." But they were startled and terrified and thought that they were seeing a ghost. Then he said to them, "Why are you troubled? And why do questions arise in your hearts? Look at my hands and my feet, that it is I, myself. Touch me and see, because a ghost does not have flesh and bones, as you can see I have." And as he said this, he showed them his hands and his feet. While they were still incredulous for joy and were amazed, he asked them, "Have you anything here to eat?" They gave him a piece of baked fish. He took it and ate it in front of them. He said to them, "These are my words that I spoke to you while I was still with you, that everything written about me in the law of Moses and in the prophets and Psalms must be fulfilled." Then he opened their minds to understand the scriptures. And he said to them, "Thus it is written, that the Christ would suffer and rise from the dead on the third day, and that repentance for the forgiveness of sins would be preached in his name to all the nations, beginning from Jerusalem. You are witnesses of these things." The Gospel of the Lord. And this is a reflection for the third Sunday of Easter. Have you anything here to eat? Jesus asks today. We begin the third week of the celebration of the great gift of Easter, which is our knowing that Jesus of Nazareth is the Son of God, and that we have that same life of God in us. On this third Sunday of Easter, we are still reading of Jesus' appearances after his resurrection, and the disciples' joyous response as they believe that Jesus is with them. They know that they are with Jesus, but they see Jesus in a new way. He stands in their midst. They did not see him coming into the room. His presence is not only in physical form. Perhaps they are beginning to experience Jesus as one with the Father and with all creation, and with them. Besides showing us this new presence, today's scriptures show us where to discover for ourselves who Jesus is for his friends. Jesus tells them, "Look at what the prophets have written about the Messiah. I have fulfilled these promises." Also, in the gospel story just before this one, two disciples on the road to Emmaus discover Jesus in the breaking of the bread, after he has made known to them that he has fulfilled the words of the prophet. Besides teaching us how to know Jesus with our minds, this gospel story shows us how to know Jesus with our hearts, our lives. So Eucharist is a part of this gospel story. We find Jesus there too. Is Jesus' request, "Have you anything here to eat?" the invitation to respond to Jesus' gift at the Last Supper? Surely the disciples are remembering that night. The Last Supper was just 4 days before this gospel scene. That Thursday evening, Jesus gave the disciples the bread and wine, his body and blood, himself. And the crucifixion, the in the flesh gift of Jesus letting himself and giving himself away, happened just the day before yesterday for the group gathered this Sunday evening. Surely the disciples are remembering that night. So when Jesus asks, "Have you anything here to eat?" they give him a piece of baked fish, the ordinary food of fishermen. They know, as Jesus takes the fish and eats it in front of them, that he is the guide, their friend, the master, who gave them bread and wine. They give him what they have, their bread and wine, their baked fish, that Sunday evening. And they live the rest of their lives preaching and healing and loving for Jesus and his kingdom in this world, so that this kingdom will be the kingdom of heaven. And we too respond to Jesus' request, "Have you anything here to eat?" We give to him what we have, our baked fish of ordinary days, a year of COVID-19 quarantine, a time of new and renewed and deepened friendships. We give our baked fish of community prayer, morning, noon, and evening, our extra hour of daily prayer, our letting go of ourselves. And we spend the rest of our lives living in this kingdom of heaven on earth.